Hi, this is Sarah Archer, RRRASOC's recycling coordinator. It's springtime, which means it's time for household hazardous waste events. Hopefully you are thinking about that and thinking about those items in your home that need to be properly disposed of and that are not accepted at curbside. Those kinds of materials, called household hazardous waste, or HHW for short, are those items that you'll find in your kitchen, your bathroom, your garage, even in your basement or shed. Those items are going to be items that when you look at the label, they're going to tell you caution or hazardous if swallowed, or ask you to call poison control if something gets into your eyes. Those are all items that are special, need special proper disposal, and at RRRASOC we provide you with many events throughout the year to properly handle that. So let's just take a look at some of the different types of items that, as examples, that you might find in your home. So aerosol cans that still have contents in them, so give it a shake if you can still hear those kinds of items. Definitely any types of sprays for killing any kind of insect, that is also going to be a pesticide that needs to be properly disposed of. Even things like cleaning items that you no longer need or have a use for. Some of these things were left behind in a house when we were cleaning out that we have found. Most of the times you'll also find that these are cleaners that are liquid form and may but be in a gel type. Solids are not so much of a problem. We're really worried more about the liquid concentrations that might end up into our water systems and hurt our lakes and streams here in our beautiful Great Lakes state. Other things that we want to see at the household hazardous waste events are your household batteries, as well as your lithium batteries, and any kind of a battery, even automotive batteries, can be brought to our household hazardous waste days. Just a note about your batteries. Let me dig those out of my bucket here. As I mentioned, we accept all types of household batteries, so that'd be like your A's and your D's and C's, all of the letter ones. We also take 12 volts and 9 volts. The one thing with your 9 volts and your 12 volts, you'll notice that they have those terminals that are raised above the battery. Be sure that you tape across those terminals so that if there's still a little juice left in those batteries and it comes into contact with another one, that it doesn't ignite and cause a potential fire. Lithium batteries are especially important to handle properly. Put those separately into their own little plastic bag away from each other, especially if there's any puffing of your lithium batteries. Those would be batteries that are found typically in electronic devices. So if there's any kind of puffiness to them at all, don't puncture it, don't try to flatten it, just separate it and so that it's properly disposed of too. At no time should these types of materials, your batteries or your household hazardous waste materials, be placed with your regular recycling. Be sure that these are brought to our special events. As I mentioned, we give you plenty of opportunities to do that. Something else that's really important to think about are also any mercury-containing materials like this old curlicue, the light bulb, our CFL, compact fluorescent lights. We also take the fluorescent tubes as well at our events, so it's a great time to take care of them. Here's a tip for you that I like to use when I'm taking my materials. I take an old empty tub that's tall enough for me to put my little tube into, because once those break, it does release the mercury vapors out of that bulb, and so we want to protect our environment by keeping it safe in transport to the event, or even at home when we're packaging things up. You'd be surprised how many people will actually put the bulbs together with their batteries, and then the batteries are knocking around, and then by the time they get to the event, that bulb has broken. So, it's just some simple precaution of taking an old empty container and putting your bulb in that is going to be a great way to prevent that from happening. Medications are something else that we take. So any unused medications that have expired, you can take those and bring those to us as well. We do ask that you empty all of your pills. We just take the pill form of medications and you can put those all together in one baggie. We just hand those all off and they get properly disposed of by our vendor. So speaking of our vendor is ERG Environmental out of Livonia, and I recently had a conversation with the operations manager there and asked him, if you had one thing you would like to change or have residents do differently when they come to an event, what would that be? And the thing that came to his mind was, please make sure people know, especially in the vehicles where the hatch comes up, like, you know, like our SUVs, that they have moved their materials way well into the back end of their vehicle, and that they even might brace it with some kind of a bar or something, so that when the workers are opening the back end of your vehicle, because if you've been to our events, you know that you don't have to get out of your vehicle. So our workers are, and his workers are actually opening the vehicle, that all of a sudden that material isn't coming tumbling down and creating a hazardous spill on the property. And so there's another tip for you when you attend one of our events. Pack your stuff well into your vehicle. Make sure that you have everything sealed in their original containers, and everything should be going on really well and handled smoothly. So just want to remind you that household hazardous waste is, we have a whole section on our website about household hazardous waste. We have a flyer every year, and this particular one can be downloaded from our site and lists all of the remaining events for 2025. So you're surely not going to miss out on the next one. We have 3 more events coming up this year, in July and 2 in October. So be sure to check our website out at www.RRRASOC.org, and you can find information about what to recycle, how to prepare it, and everything you ever might want to know about HHW. So thanks for listening. We're going to talk a little bit now about our drop-off site. All right, so as you know, in Southfield, here at our main offices at 8 Mile and Evergreen, we have a drop-off site for recycling as well. It's a great service for those that don't have curbside recycling access. However, it's also great for those of you that do, especially now that we are such an online shopping society that we end up with lots of boxes. And I can attest to that when I check out our drop-off site here in Southfield. So that just brings me to my reminder. Since I have your attention, when you bring your boxes, please, please, please be sure that they are empty of any contents, the styrofoam packaging or any plastic bags. Dispose of those in your trash. Flatten those boxes before you put them into our containers here for the drop-off site, mainly because we don't want to have to pull them filled with air at just 20% capacity. By flattening those boxes, you're making space and making sure that other people who come to use the site are going to have space for theirs. And once somebody puts things on the ground, then everyone does that, and that really creates a lot of extra work for our workers here at the site. So here at Southfield, we just have a couple of containers, and so we want to make sure that they're properly used and the area is well maintained and doesn't become unsightly for us to maybe get a little bit of a sad face from the city about that. Also here at the site, just a real quick reminder too that we have our shredder, our industrial shredder here too. So if you have a lot of shredding documents, it's a good idea to bring them here and save yourself and your home shredder a lot of extra work and burnout for sure. But getting back to the drop-off site, sometimes people are also, I've run into people here at the site that have cleaned out a home or have a loved one that's passed on, and so they're doing a lot of clean-outs there. So just remember to check out what is actually recyclable from our website. We have our recycling guidelines listed there. So whatever is accepted at our curbside program is accepted here at our drop-off site. And so again, hardcover books oftentimes are things that people are clearing out of homes. Unfortunately, those are not recyclable or acceptable here in our process. So as a reminder again, double check our list, make sure that you keep out what's not allowed. Check our website because we have a really great directory there where you can do a search for any specific item, and it'll give you ideas about how you might properly dispose of that, donate it, or if it should be something that just goes into the trash. So thanks for paying attention to my little spiels this morning or today, and remember to visit our website, www.rrrasoc.org.